I got that animal ambition. I got that animal ambition. I got that.
They know smoke, and I really like the business of professional wrestling or sports entertainment, as WWE called it. So I just figured I'd go make like these reaction vids to these wrestling content over on YouTube, just to express my joy and thoughts on the previous ideas and the next ideas and the current ideas of the business. And when I'm gonna peep this video of 10 things WWE must do before 2024.
Hello there, my very good friends. 2023 is almost over. WWE's going really well at the moment, but we've got a bunch of stuff that we would like to see them do before the whole thing ends. I'm Andy, this is Adam. These are 10 things WWE must do before 2024. Number 10, put a belt on LA Knight.
Yeah!
I'm glad to have you to do that noise because I'm crap at it. But look, he's facing Roman Reigns, obviously, for the Undisputed Universal Championship this weekend.
Real talk, I don't know, maybe the US title would be good for LA Knight, but world title, yeah. I would like to see him have it, but I always see Crown Jewel as a filler event.
Crown Jewel. I'm not advocating for him to win that match. In fact, I think he should lose that match.
Yeah.
Be it clean, be it through interference from Jimmy, Jay, Jacob, Jonas, Jehovah, whoever the heck else you want to get in there from the gigantic Uso family. But to me, end of the year, this man should be holding the United States Championship. For me, Logan Paul needs to take off Rey Mysterio. Hold it for a little bit.
Oh.
And who better to step up to that yapping gob SHIT than another one in LA Knight.
Yeah, I think Rey Mysterio can spin off into a feud with Santos Escobar. We talk a lot about that regularly on the SmackDown blog.
And Logan Paul, the fact that he's not like a full-time wrestler and the way he attracts heat because he's not one of the dudes in the locker room, that'd be good for business. You beat Rey Mysterio by any means, boom, LA Knight comes out, and then they start doing the little promo battles like they did way back when during the Money in the Bank event. That'd be fire. That'd be good for business.
Podcast because we're anticipating a heel turn for Santos because he's just fed up of Ray.
He's had enough.
Therefore, Logan Paul has the title. Logan versus LA at Survivor Series would be perfect for me. They could have a load of fun with both rings as well if you want to do something like that. And you need LA Knight doing something bigger next year's WrestleMania, putting the title on in there, sort of gives him something to do. He can elevate that title a la Gunther with the Intercontinental for me. Or it's just a prelim for him becoming the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania, although I personally would reserve that for someone like Gunther. But anyway,
100%.
He needs to win a belt, but it's not going to be this weekend.
The thing is,
number 9, another thing that WWE needs to do.
The thing is, LA Knight is in his 40s, man, so it's like the time is ticking, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't know how he's going to look by the time he reaches 50. He's like 42, yeah, but
before 2024,
like a 5-year
repackage
gap
some of their
missing,
failing acts. They're doing some great work at the moment, but I think you could easily, just off the top of your head, pick out several people you're like, what are you doing? Nikki Cross just wanders out sometimes. What are B-Fab...
Stands there and doesn't do anything,
What are B-Fab and Ashanti the Adonis doing now that Hit Row are kind of not a thing anymore, especially with Top Dollar, of course, unfortunately, being released? Karrion Kross and Scarlett, like, what are we doing with them? He's sort of like posting stuff on social media like eyeing up Roman Reigns, and I'm like, you're getting nowhere near that. Who else did I write down? Katana Chance, Caden Carter. Either repackage them or do summit with them.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, I know she's wrestling at time of recording.
bro, I said, like, watching them perform at NXT, for them to get drafted and do absolutely nothing with them is ridiculous, bro.
And to a certain extent, I know she's wrestling at time of recording tonight on Monday Night Raw. What are we doing with Candice LeRae?
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. There's always going to be, at any point in history, no matter how good the booking is, there'll always be a list of wrestlers they could be doing more with. It took Triple H like a good year to do something with Johnny Gargano that was worth an F.
Yeah.
To start with, obviously Ciampa's been injured and all of that stuff, but yeah, sort some of those acts out, because in at number 8, call up some NXT stars.
Oh.
If you don't sort those acts that we've just talked about, these people are going to come up and take the throne. Now, the Creeds have just been on Raw as we record this, but there's nothing like the reinvigoration to a roster that adding a bunch of people from developmental brings. And it just so happens that there are a bunch of people in NXT who are on the cusp at the moment who are ready for this. I'm talking Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez.
Yes!
The Creeds, like we just said, the TLC, they're going tables, ladders, and scares, but put them on the main roster full time. They're great.
Tiffany Stratton stated recently that she have more to improve on before she goes to the main roster. So that's good self-awareness. And Roxanne Perez, and she's hella young too. She's like 21, 22. So I don't know if they want to keep her in NXT long enough because of maturity thing. Because you go on the road like that. Because granted, she was in our Ring of Honor and somewhere else before too. But WWE though is a whole different animal though when it comes to the main roster. For the outside looking in, and based on what the people say, that's involved in the business.
It's something that always just refreshes things, shakes things up, makes it a bit more interesting, presents new matches, stories, other opportunities that you can do on screen, and I think that list of people are at the front of the line.
Yeah, Raw and SmackDown are vastly better than they were a few years ago. Obviously not as good as NXT. That is the show of the week, as I often say.
The best show of all time, I've heard.
Indeed. But the beauty of NXT, genuinely, and I know I'm biased, but the beauty of NXT right now is you could skim some of that talent off the top, your Mellos, your Roxanne Perez's, your Braun Breakers, of course. And I don't think NXT would suffer that much. They've got so many new people, Lola Vice, for example, so many new people coming through that I don't think there would be a void left. And I think that some of those people that you've mentioned there would, Creed's obviously, like you say, being tested out on Raw, would be perfect for the main roster. And just, I think to a certain extent, sometimes you're like, another match with that team again.
If the ratings suffer, then it is what it is.
If you suddenly
if you like wrestling, you go on NXT.
Kick ass.
You know what I'm saying?
I'd be well
There's
up
no
for
other
it.
wrestling show on there.
You know my bias
like
towards
mainstream.
NXT. I think they're
You're
absolutely
not biased towards
sensational.
NXT.
I may be slightly biased towards the new team that I'd like to see at number 7 being rewarded, and that is A-Tan Dan Anda, right? I know with regards Austin Theory, but I think they've actually stumbled across something really good with him on SmackDown. Grayson Waller is what I like to call a brilliant bell end. And they've got this entrance, it's very unique, it's not done anywhere else. Definitely not similar to the Guns entrance on AEW. But I think they are a fun heel tag team. I know you've got that with Pretty Deadly as well. I'm not saying that they should become tag team champions right now. I think you've got the intrigue of, Judgment Day and what's going on with them and they're holding all those belts right now. But give them a bit of a push because you need to be doing something with Austin Theory, and I think putting him in a tag team for 6 months would be probably the best thing to do. Long term, maybe they want to turn him babyface. Who knows? But Grayson Waller, I love him. He was great in NXT, and I think he's really hit the ground running on the main roster.
Speaking of NXT, things that have come up from there and landed on the main roster. Number 6, War Games. There you go.
Yes!
There you go. Now, by the time you're watching this, there's a good chance that WWE might have already announced this for Survivor Series, although maybe not because they're kind of holding back on those announcements. But let's just go from it from the standpoint that they haven't announced it yet. These things take a couple of days to produce. Production meetings, all of that stuff. It's got to be a big year for War Games for me. I think the WWE format of War Games, it's more of a spot fest than it was when the stipulation was originally conceived years and years and years ago. And that's fine. It's more to modern tastes if it's a bit spottier and a bit less story rich, I think. But at the same time, for me, the best WWE match War Games so far is the Dakota Kai turn match in NXT, which just so happened to be the most story driven of them all. With the 2-on-4 aspect and all of that. So, that's the best execution of this match. Ideally, it would be an existing storyline and not just some t-shirt time Raw versus SmackDown rubbish. But they've got to nail it this year for me. If you're going to have this as an annual thing, let's justify it by making it kick serious ass. Can they pull it off? Well, most people would probably argue that it kicks ass every year. For me, I need a step up in quality. 2
rules. Number 1, don't do red versus blue because that's dumb. You've got so much potential there with Rhea creating a heel team involving like Nia Jax and the babyface team featuring someone I'm just about to mention. And on the men's side of things, it's right there. Have the Judgment Day and the Bloodline form and have Cody and all of his pals take them on, basically. Cody, LA Knight, Owens, Zayn, all that sort of thing. It's right there. And the other rule is, stop giving the babyfaces the advantage, Triple H! It's the dumbest thing. It's so easy. I know it's gimmicked, right? I know it's always a coin toss. Who's going to...
You tell me the War Games isn't a shoot.
give the heels the advantage, otherwise it's dumb. But the other thing they need to do at Survivor Series, and entry number 5, almost.
Yes, sir.
I added one to it there. Is debut Jade Cargill.
Yes.
Obviously, she's appearing on all of the shows and premium live events and that sort of thing. But for me, that's where Jade.
I like how the transition was from AEW to WWE. They took her success from AEW, right, who was undefeated for a while, right? Go to WWE, they make this big deal out of her. Like her promos, like backstage skit, it been great to say the least.
Cargill should have her first wrestling match. It is Survivor Series. Whether you want to announce her as member of the team in advance, or you want to be a mystery 5th member of the women's babyface team, and you do the Kevin Owens thing that they did at War Games all those years ago of like, they've not got anyone. Oh bollocks, they've got Jade Cargill. For me, that's where I'd debut her rather than the Royal Rumble, or certainly way before the Raw after WrestleMania, for example. I'd have her work Survivor Series, then work the Rumble. You've said this yourself. Chuck her out of there because she doesn't need to win the Rumble this year, and then have her have a big match at WrestleMania.
And then,
you know, Survivor Series like the big 4 POLs of WWE. If somebody of first star quality, it only makes sense to drop her off in one of those pay-per-view.
number 4, we've got book a world title change on Raw. Doesn't happen often in major wrestling promotions, especially in WWE, where we see the big marble, where we see the big belt switch hands on a weekly show. So it's fresh, it's new, it's exciting, it keeps you guessing, it means you know you have to tune into stuff because this change could feasibly happen in the future, and you should do it with Seth Rollins. The story is right there. His back is knackered, he is primed and ready to be taken advantage of. Shinsuke Nakamura softened it up. Now somebody can come in and make it even softer with their elbow, the tenderizer, they call it. For me, that should be a cash-in from Damian Priest, but there's a bunch of different ways you could go with this. I think it would really freshen things up. It would also give Seth a chance to just go away for a bit, sell his accumulation of injuries and all of that stuff, and then come back in the Rumble to a huge pop, as you guys say, and revert back to just being a silly little guy who makes faces.
He could be a fun tag team. He's not been in a tag team for ages.
Yeah.
I don't know who you'd put him with, but I just off the top of my head, yeah, I want him to go away. I want to miss him for a bit.
Yeah.
And a part of that would be entry number 3 on this list, Andy, and that's turning Drew McIntyre heel, perhaps as part of this softening up of the old buggered back of Seth Rollins.
Buggered back.
I think if they don't do the cash-in on Monday Night Raw, because I do like that as an idea, as a big title change in terms of getting people to tune in every week, because you never know what might happen, I think the title change might happen this weekend at Crown Jewel. I think Drew McIntyre is going to fight the good fight against Seth Rollins and either be just about to win or have just lost narrowly. You know, I've got you for the Claymore. Oh, you rolled me up, bloody hell! Right? And then Damian Priest's like, thanks very much, Drew, out of the way. And cashes in, and Drew's like, you have got to be kidding me with this. And he snaps. I think Drew McIntyre, I'll admit, about 6 months ago, I could have not been bothered if Drew McIntyre had disappeared and gone to AEW. Right now, I think he's doing some of the best stuff he's done in years in WWE, and it's because he's on the verge of this heel turn. Turn him heel, kick some ass, maybe have him be feuding with Cody. First thing out of the gate. Go big. And
number 2, confirm The Rock's status for WrestleMania. Right, they need to just figure this out, right?
Yes.
What are we doing? Can Big Dwayne make the event? If it's a yes, you need to figure out how the heck you make that work without undermining the aspect of Cody Rhodes winning the belt and finishing the story. Because obviously, if The Rock's doing WrestleMania, he's probably going to be doing something with Roman, because that is the connection, that is the familial tie.
He's like, what? Like around 50 by now? And he's so busy doing other stuff too, Hollywood and whatnot, right? But, you know, going to the ring is not as easy as people think, especially at that age where you've been away for a long time. Like, ring rust is real. And any sports, bro, if you're out for that long, like on a basketball court, you get on the court and you just pull yourself into that, no matter what drills you be put in, if you get on that court during game time, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel weird and awkward for your body to readjust to that situation. In wrestling, well, you're falling down on purpose, bro. Like, just constant in the match, just boom, boom, you know? With whatever, you know, like, the ability to sell is not as easy as you think you know, at that age.
If he can't do it, good, we figured that out. We can just finish the story. We can proceed with that.
Yeah.
But it does sound like this is a thing that needs to be resolved. The latest reporting on it was that they will probably just decide what the main event is going to be, regardless of whether The Rock can make it or not.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's decisive. That's the action you want to take. But if he can make it, it may tempt them to mess things up. So you need to figure out if he's available, figure out if he can do it, and then that will ease a lot of your planning heading into the biggest show of the year.
Whatever The Rock is doing at WrestleMania, Night 2 of WrestleMania needs to be Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns for the world title.
Agreed.
You can do some bloodline bollocks on Night 1 with The Rock if you want. And maybe Cody fights, I don't know, Cena or something to get the title shot. But it muddies the waters too much for me. I think you're right. Keep it clean and just have The Rock come out and say his name on fire for all I care.
And that was the attendance, inflated by like 200,000.
2 million.
Wow! Well, it is 2 nights.
We're going to count everyone there and every cheesesteak in the building. And finally, number one, the one thing that WWE needs to do before 2024 is end the core Bloodline saga. Now, before you go flying into the comments or on X, listen to what I said there. The core Bloodline saga. I'm not saying take the title off Roman Reigns before 2024. It's going to happen at WrestleMania 40 with Cody Rhodes, or my head is going to explode, right? But I think you just need to have Roman heading into 2024 as the lone wolf, not Baron Corbin, on his own, right? Maybe even you set up a match between, I don't know, Roman and Solo for the Royal Rumble, for example, or Roman versus Jimmy versus Jay versus Solo for the Royal Rumble, because Roman needs to be eventually heading into WrestleMania all on his own, because it's the culmination of like a 4-year story basically. This years of tyranny and records being broken left, right, and center. But we had the shenanigans at WrestleMania 39. Roman needs to be not weakened. He needs to maybe look as good as he ever has, because you don't want Cody to just be beating a guy that has now lost all his friends and therefore can't win any matches. But yeah, I think clean one-on-one Cody versus Roman with no help from the rest of the bloodline. You know, you have Heyman in his corner, of course, but beyond that, I think keep it simple.
Keep it simple. And let us know what you want to see WWE do by the end of 2023 down in the comments below. And share this video out.